do need lighter. Welcome in, chosen ones. For those of you who are watching this after it was live, check out the pinned comments for timestamps and you can skip straight ahead into the tarot. If not, and you want to stick around for the opening breath work and a mini sound session, you'll also find that in the pinned comment. We'll give it a few minutes just to allow people to join. I hope this reading finds you happy, healthy, divinely guided, and protected. If the title resonated with you, there is a message here for you. And this is a great opportunity, if you're watching it live, to ask me a question, to see the pinned comment, to see how you can do that, or ask my moderator, Sunny in LA. Thank you, Sunny, for being here. Always appreciative of you. And please, of course, only take what resonates with you. Leave the rest for another soul who may be needing the message. Let's go ahead, burn a little bit of rosemary for protection, clear the space, call upon only the benevolent ancestors. And tonight we're going to get into the tarot much more quickly. I won't do my whole sound bowl, but I am going to tap both frequencies from the small Tibetan bronze singing bowl as well as my larger Note F 432 hertz crystal singing bowl. We'll be sure to tap those to cleanse and set the energy for this divine insight, these protective messages, because as always, my readings are never meant to fearmonger, only to instead equip the divine collective with spiritual tools and knowledge along your path. In other words, I help supply the tools, but I can never tell you what to build. You always maintain free will and personal intuition that will override my own. I'm going to start by pulling a crowning energy. Welcome in, welcome in. If you're in the chat, be sure to leave a like. Drop a 333 in the comments if you want to connect your energy to mine. Maybe there's something you're looking for guidance or clarity on, and that may come out for you in tonight's collective reading. Spirit, that was fast. Love to see that. I'm gonna place that there. And before, right at the bottom of the deck, death energy, closing of old cycles. Death is never anything to fear here in the tarot. This is most often a spiritual death more than it is a 3D physical death. This is the changing of old ways, the releasing of karmic patterns, old cycles, old ways of doing things. You know, there's the saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But if it is broken, well, then it might need some tending to. But before we dive into the tarot deeper, I'm going to leave this crowning message. You definitely want to see that. Let's first set the energy by just taking 3 rounds of breath together so you can connect with my energy. And I will tap the singing bowls before we get into the tarot. So if you're in a comfortable, safe place to do so, welcome in, Wrens. you're not driving or operating heavy machinery and you feel safe to do so, go ahead and close your eyes now. And before we manipulate our breath in any way, let's first just tune in to our breathing. Are we taking short, shallow breaths? Are our shoulders close to our ears? Can they relax a little bit down towards our tailbone? Maybe you might even soften that area just between your eyebrows at your third eye chakra. Just observing the rising of your chest with every inhale and the contraction of your ribs and your belly with every exhale. And now taking 3 rounds of breath together, let's breathe in, in through our nose. And let it go through the mouth. Taking another long inhale through your nose. This time, releasing it back through your nose. Feeling your face soften. And once more, deepest inhale you've taken all day, in through your nose. Holding at the top. Maybe you take another sip of air if you can. And letting it go heavy through the mouth. Beautiful. Now I want you to turn the volume down before I tap this frequency. I'm going to be tapping each bowl 4 times just in honor of north, east, south, west, the earth, the air, wind, and fire, not in that order. And if you felt that frequency in your body, leave it in the chat where you felt that. Maybe it was within one of your chakras, or maybe it was somewhere entirely different. We're going to do the same with this bowl. It's a bit deeper, so please do lower the volume first. And I will tap the bowl 4 times for earth, air, water, and fire, honoring the elements. Now, maybe you didn't feel the first bowl, but if you did feel this frequency resonate somewhere within the body, let me know in the comments. Just for protection, before I begin the tarot, I'm going to burn a little bit more of this dried rosemary. Welcome into the chat. Welcome into the chat. Yes, you said you felt it in your chest. You know, this frequency is sometimes said to meant to resonate with the heart chakra. So no such thing as coincidence that you felt it in your chest, Sunny. Thank you for sharing. And let me know, can you hear my mic okay? I'm gonna try not to hit the cards on the mic. I'm still adjusting to using it, so please bear with me. I know this is gonna be a juicy read tonight. If the title resonated with you, I'm gonna once again give a disclaimer. My readings are never meant to fearmonger, but instead to equip the divine collective with spiritual tools and knowledge along your path. So, in other words, I help supply the tools, but I can never tell you what to build. You always maintain free will and your own personal intuition. But if today's title resonated with you, then you may be dealing with one of the following: a family member, coworker, business partner, or an ex who keeps tabs on you from afar. And we often refer to these as monitoring spirits. Sometimes it is really that person in the 3D, whereas other times it's their vessel being momentarily inhabited by a low vibrational spirit sent to deter you chosen ones from your path. There are a plethora of reasons why this could be happening, but there's a reason why they say that there is a thin line between love and hate. Because what some may perceive as love is actually toxic and can end in tragedy. But as above, so below, there's always the flip side of that, in which you may have someone who claims to hate or dislike you, but truthfully, they're watching you. And for some reason, they're drawn to what they perceive to be as your mysterious energy. Many of my chosen ones, my star seeds, your energy is mysterious. Just as people think they have you figured out, you have already pivoted and you're 3 steps ahead around the corner, and they're wondering who you're now becoming when you're out of their view. And a lot of these people are truthfully just threatened, or they may even be inspired by you, so they lurk. Yet they're unable to muster the courage to clap for you publicly, but they always have front row seats. All right, let's dive into the tarot. For your crowning message, before we pull any further cards, for the crowning message, we have the Seven of Pentacles. This is perfect for right now because the moon is waxing. If you look outside, if you're able to see the moon right now, this is exactly how Luna is looking. You've been planting the seeds. For many of you, long ago, you've planted the seeds. You've been watering them, caring for them, nurturing them with your divine feminine energy, whether you're male or female. And now you're starting to see the fruits of your labor, whether that be in spiritual or in the flesh or both. For many of you, I'm hearing. You're aligning with the stars, you're learning about your history, and you're remembering who you are. And so there's this divine confidence about you now that, once again, going back to that mysterious energy, you are much like the moon, where you're constantly ebbing and flowing, waxing and waning. And with that comes many seasons and cycles. And many people have been trying to figure you out, and the fact that they can't really bothers them. But with this Seven of Pentacles, you can see this person here. They have tunnel vision. They're set on a focused goal with a plan of action. However, they're not so set on the outcome that they're not allowing spirit to move them whenever they're being called to pivot or to enact change. If this is resonating with you, be sure to like the chat, leave a 333 in the comments. Let me know you're here, where you're tuning in from. And if anyone would like to ask a question while I'm live, see the pinned comment. You can donate any amount to the preferred platforms, and you can have one card read here. So with the Seven of Pentacles, I can tell you've been doing the work. You can tell you've been doing the work. And in the 3D, your physical vessel is even showing this. Maybe the clothes you wear are different now because you walk more confidently in your skin. For others, you're able to hold up your chest and pull your shoulders back, not just because you look good in the 3D, but because you feel good on the inside. Welcome in, Sarah. Yes, 333 from San Diego. That is wild. I actually was just talking about San Diego today. No such thing as coincidence. Happy to have you here. And let's go ahead and pull a few more cards. I'm loving that because this Seven of Pentacles is your crowning energy. Doing the work, and it shows in spirit and in flesh. Now is not the time to be deterred, to spend too much to put too much of your focus into what's not working. Instead of pointing out problems, that's totally fine as long as you come in with a solution oriented mindset. Many of you have that. I'm really just preaching to the choir. Welcome in, Dan. 3 is your favorite number. Yes, 3 is a magic number. Okay, 1 just fell out, so we're going to take that as well. Let me place it over here. I'm not going to turn it over till we pull a few more cards. Spirit, please show, oh, my beautiful collective what it is, yes, that they need to see. What messages do you have from my collective? Take from the bottom, one more from the top. Wow, this card has come out in the last 3 readings today and the last 2 lives I did, one of which I didn't even pull tarot until the end. It was more of a ghost stories type of interactive. So be sure, if you like this type of content, be sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications so you know when I go live. Okay. Wow. This is beautiful. I'm going to start with this 8 of Swords because, like I said, this has come out 3 times in the last 3 consecutive readings. No such thing as coincidence. With the 8 of Swords, and I was actually pulling it from a different deck, but I described how it was in this one. So do check out those other lives. But you can see her hands are very loosely tied here. There's a very loose blindfold around her. She can easily escape these swords that have been set around her. So I often refer to this card as being in a mental prison of your own making. It's like a bird in a cage with the door open. You simply can slide your arms from the loosely tied bands and remove the blindfold, and you'll be free. You can easily escape whatever this situation is that has been holding you back, whether in spirit or in flesh. This also lets me know that many of you who are watching are very divinely guided. You have an entire spiritual team, a spiritual army around you at all times. I always like to remind the chosen ones, the star seeds, the sovereign beings, this because whatever you refer to yourself as, you know you came here on a specific mission and you're determined to fulfill it. And for many of you, acquiring this new knowledge, learning about other ways of doing things is very inspiring to you. It feeds your philosopher, the philosopher in you, that thirst for knowledge, that hunger for knowledge, shall I say. Some of you in the chat or in the live or watching this after may be tarot readers. You may receive your own psychic downloads and visions. For many of you, you have been seeing 222 on the clock. I kept getting that leading up to this live, so I felt as though it was important to mention for someone. It will not resonate with everyone. Please remember to take what resonates with you, leave the rest for another beautiful soul. So you anytime you feel alone, you can call upon your ancestors, your benevolent ancestors, and they will download into you new memories, unlock different codes within your DNA, and allow you to remember your life's path, your life's mission. Or they will send a spirit totem or someone along your path to remind you of your value. Not because you should ever look for validation outside of you, it's always within, but because sometimes you're just looking for that symbolism to keep going in the physical 3D world. So there's that 8 of Swords 3 times in a row. Free your mind. For some of you, you are very much philosophers, you're thinkers. And because of this constant thinking, you find yourself over analyzing situations. You oftentimes have conversations with people. And once you get home later at night, that's when you're thinking of all the things you coulda, shoulda, woulda said. And you're like, I have everything perfect, bullet points, talking points, but in the moment, your brain is racing. And yes, very specific message for someone out there. Now, this card hopped out, the Chariot. This has also come out in the last reading in a different deck. So definitely check that out. I'll be sure to link it above once this is uploaded. But the Chariot, you can see this is someone who's living carefree. This is someone who is tapping into that solar plexus energy. So you may be drawn to the colors yellow, orange, very sun masculine energy at this time. And this may be because you're unlocking this new version of you who relinquishes control. Normally, what brings you satisfaction, what brings you peace is knowing that you are in control of a situation or you're in control of yourself. And this is kind of a reminder, this from this deck specifically, to loosen the reins a little bit. Remember to have fun and enjoy it, because as they say, as corny as it sounds, life, life is the journey, okay, not the destination. So don't forget to enjoy it along the ride. For many of you, I'm hearing it's been a hell of a roller coaster, okay? And some of you are like, let me off of this ride. And others of you are like, listen, it's going to eventually come to a stop. Let me throw my arms up and just enjoy this. But the Chariot is very much about financial stability. This is also the card of Cancer, the crab. Some of you in the chat may be Cancer, but I often think of Leo energy with this as well. Leo the lion, especially with this Egyptian headdress here. Definite inner strength, inner power that many of you possess. And I love to see this. Next, we have the Four of Pentacles. I'm going to take a sip of water. Excessive heat where I'm at. Sarah, if you're still here, you said you're in San Diego, so I know it's hot where you're at. So I must stay hydrated. But Four of Pentacles here, this is all about solid foundations. Solid foundations. You've been building something for quite some time, and now you can finally stand on top of it and know that it's not going to sink beneath your feet. You're not going to drop into a sinkhole, if you will. For some of you, you may have been, this is going to be off topic for a moment, but on topic, it is going to be resonate with who it's meant for. Some of you have been receiving end of the world type prophetic dreams. For many of you, I'm hearing for 2 to 3 years. And I myself have had similar dreams. If this interests you at all, and once again, not meant to fearmonger, if this interests you at all, be sure to check out the Patreon in the description, where not only do I have a live dream chat, excuse me, where we can stay updated, share the dreams that we know are meant for other people and kind of cross and compare, and then save the ones, of course, that are meant just for you. But I also shared a tarot reading there where I pulled cards for the end of the world. And that reading, you can see the cards under my community post here, but in order to get the reading, it's exclusively on Patreon. So check it out if that resonates with you. Now back to this Four of Pentacles. This foundation is not going to sink beneath your feet. It's sturdy this time. For many of you, it feels as though you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. Things have been going really well. And usually, when you're at your highest level, that's when you receive your highest devil. And so you've been feeling as though something is going to come in to disrupt this piece or this foundation you've been experiencing. What I will say with this Four of Pentacles is this is also stability in finances. This is stability in health and wealth. If there is something you've been dealing with within your physical body, you are going to be acquiring the knowledge to attack this in both a spiritual and physical way, because sometimes spiritual attacks do manifest as physical illness. Of course, this is for entertainment purposes only. I am not a medical professional. However, if you've been dealing with something, this is going to resonate with someone specifically. If you've been dealing with an illness, you have been acquiring the knowledge and now you're going to be applying it, because applied knowledge equals wisdom. You're going to be applying that, whether that be update of herbalism or changing your diet. There's going to be something you do that brings you so much relief. Now, for some of you, that's going to be in your physical body, especially for those who may be dealing with chronic pain. For others, this is going to be pain right here in the coins, in the financial area. For some of you, you've been feeling the pain since we won't even mention the year, but you know. And because of that, you haven't felt stable for quite some time, and you're not adjusting to what they want us to call the new normal. but you can see things are aligning for you. A foundation is here. Financial progress is coming. Many of you are great communicators. You may have a beautiful singing voice, or you may be a great writer, author, poet. Whenever I see the swords, I think of someone who's highly intellectual. And with this Two of Swords, you're going to be, this looks like a meeting of minds, if you will. And in this meeting of minds, this may be a romantic partnership, it could be a collaboration, a business partnership. But this meeting of minds is going to bring you, for some of you, this is like, this is gonna, it turns you on, your mental turns, you're being turned on by the way this person turns on your mental capacity. That's how I'm hearing it. Very specific. I never say anything like that in my reading, so that's going to resonate with someone. However, in this meeting of minds, this can also be as above, so below. This can be someone challenging you. And so while there's the light side of it, in which the meeting of minds, you stimulate one another and there's mutual progress and growth, on the other side of that, this can be someone who, for whatever reason, is challenged or intimidated by your energy. Therefore, they constantly want to challenge your energy just outright. This can be in a workplace for some of you, I'm hearing. For others, this can be in a relationship. For others, it may be dealing with even a child or someone that you care for. Others of you, this makes me feel as though you're locked into some sort of contract and it's going to be coming to an end, because at the bottom of this deck, when we first opened it up, we had death. And this is going to be the death of the contract. Some of you have felt that Eight of Swords in bondage because you've been locked in with an energy that is maybe served its purpose once, but it is no longer meant for you. And I can confidently say that because then next you have the Five of Swords. The five in numerology, in geometria, in tarot usually depicts dissatisfaction. Now, the light side of this would be you having people who gather to listen to you. And this can be you forming a group. This can be a band for some of you. I'm also getting that for others of you, this is some sort of church, even. But with this five, I often do think of thoughts of the past consuming your mind, because the five is often fixated on past events, past conversations, past ways people may have disrespected your energy or challenged your intellect. And for many of you, this resonates with that seven of wands that came out in that end of the world tarot reading, where some of you were just simply fighting the masses or fighting the matrix or the agent smiths, if you will. It seems as though whatever you say, this person has something to say against it. On the other side of that, this could just be you protecting your thoughts. You know that if you bring the highest, brightest version of you around, you're going to be laughed at, mocked, or ridiculed. I always like to refer it when you're going through an awakening process and you go around other people who aren't ready for that change, or your light shines, into their darkness, into their demons, you make them feel uncomfortable. And so instead of looking at themselves, it's much easier to point the finger at you. And so they may look at you as a pretty little fool at best and an arrogant idiot at worst, even though you know the truth. So for many of you, this sword is representative of you protecting your energy, protecting your knowledge, this esoteric wisdom that you've been acquiring. You know that it's not meant for everyone. You know when to plant the seeds, but you know that other people have to water them. And here you have again the eight, but this time the Eight of Cups. This is about emotional fulfillment for many of you. And there's 8 people in the chat now. Be sure if you're here, you're enjoying the reading, don't forget to share the live so that it can reach more of the chosen collective. I appreciate the support, and liking is completely free. So with this Eight of Cups, this can be a decision or a choice for many of you. You may be looking back at the past. For many of you, this is the Lionsgate portal that we've been talking about that just occurred last month. We're one day away from that being a month ago. And since then, it's as though many doors, new pathways have opened up for you. And for some of you, you are here fixated on that past. For others, there's that Four of Cups in half, you're fixated on that foundation that you've been building. But what you don't see is past or potential future. What you don't see is this path. Clean up the middle. This is one cup shy of wish fulfillment. It's all about taking action, taking the next step. I call the eights the shooting your shot in whatever that may be, the cups, the pentacles, the swords, the wands. But some of you are fixated on something, someone who's no longer serving you, and you're being urged or encouraged to take stock of what relationships are still mutually beneficial. Do you feed into one another? Is there reciprocity? Or is this person something that's been in the back of your closet for years that you haven't touched in a while? And now that was a weird analogy for a person, but you get my point. Spring cleaning can be done in the fall. Fall is also a great time to fall back, reassess, reap your harvest, and reassess for how you want to nurture yourself through the winter season, depending on which hemisphere you're in, and what seeds you want to plant in the spring. And truthfully, the winter solstice is a great time to plant the seeds so that you can, in your springtime, bring about those blooms. Let's get some spiritual guidance. Thank you. Thank you, Joe, for sending a donation. If you want me to pull a card and ask a question, leave it in the chat. Greatly appreciate you. The real Furious Pharaoh, welcome in. Glad to have you. Spirit, please show my beautiful chosen collective what it is that they need to see. What spiritual guidance, ancestral guidance do you have for my chosen ones, my star seeds, my high vibrational beings? If the title resonated with you, there is a message here for you. Please remember, it's a public reading meant for a collective, so only take what resonates with you. Leave the rest for someone else. And if you'd like a private one-on-one tarot reading where I pre-record and upload, check out the description. This card has also been coming out quite a bit. I remember, I believe this came out two readings ago, and I didn't even use this deck in the last reading. So these repeat messages are just confirmation from Spirit. You remember who you are. Someone in the chat may be from Detroit. I saw 313 on the time, 3313. Soul plan, the fated life versus the destiny life. I refer to this card as the Lion King, where Simba is channeling his dad with Rafiki through the water, and he's telling him to remember who he is. Many of you are awakening and remembering who you are. You can't, for some of you, you can't quite put your finger on what it is you were sent here to do, but you have an outline. You have a rough draft. You know what makes you happy. You know what makes your heart skip a beat. You know what fills your cup and allows you to not only pour into others, but pour back into yourself. So much connection with the water here, much Cancerian, Pisces energy. Scorpio may even be in the chat. If that is your sign, leave it, let me know, or drop a 333 if it resonates. Many of you have this divine connection with the water. When you go to the lake or a fresh body of water, an ocean, a sea, you don't even necessarily have to get in, but amplification points if you do. But even going near it, you receive these divine downloads from the Most High, from your benevolent ancestors. And many of you are being called to dip your toes, rinse your hands, cover your face and your hair with this fresh water. Now, of course, be sure that it is safe to do so. It's somewhere that people are able to swim. But salt water itself specifically has such healing properties. And I truly believe that Mama Ocean talks to you if you're listening, if you go near her. Same with lakes. I love this. Soul plan, the fated life versus the destiny life. And this soul plan is the plan that I was referring to here. That plan of action, you're taking of your newly acquired knowledge and applying it and making it wisdom, and you're bearing fruit from doing this. You remember who you are, and you're moving with the confidence that I was feeling with the Seven of Pentacles that crowned your reading. The fruits of your labor in spirit and in flesh. And look at this confirmation, the courageous peony, courage, moving from the heart chakra, Leo, as we mentioned with the chariot. The courageous peony, your multifaceted, unique nature, let yourself be seen. If that's not confirmation, I don't know what is. Spirit is saying whatever's holding you back in your mind, let it bloom. Let go and let flow. Some of you may be seeing peonies, whether you work at whether you're a florist, maybe a wedding planner, or you recently bought flowers for someone, or you're getting ready to buy flowers. You may be seeing peonies. For others, I am getting pink roses or pink carnations as filler flowers. Definitely, when you see the butterflies, those are your ancestors letting you know they're around you. I'm specifically getting orange monarch butterflies as well as the more rare black butterflies. That resonates. Leave a butterfly in the chat. Let me know. But your unique nature, chosen one, let yourself be seen. Next, you have the void. I just talked about the seasons. Stop, embrace winter, the great cosmic womb. You have to be sure to rewind this if you didn't hear me talk about the seasons and the plan of action and you finding this confidence, and everything's being confirmed from spirit right now. I absolutely love this. Yes, the void is black. It's the void. It's supposed to be the cosmic womb. So much like you came from your mother's water, your mother's womb, first you came from darkness until you came earth's side. So many of us are taught to fear the darkness, but I remind you that is where you came from. And so in this void, there are stars, but it is much like being in your mother's womb in this gestational period where you must stay there for protection until you're formed enough to enter as the fan fell. That was weird. I have something resting on my fan and it completely just fell. So sorry if that scared anyone. But with this void, you're within the darkness of your mother's womb in this gestational period where you have to be fully formed in order to come earthside. And so, this void area, much like the winter season, much like women with your moon cycles, you wax and wane like the moon. Red moon cycles, white moon cycles. The moon approximately has 29.5 day cycles. Women's cycles are 28 days. And it's this taboo thing to talk about. So, definitely show the women in your life some love. Remind them, especially who you came from, that you love them, that you're appreciative. Because this is much like the winter season. You in your mother's belly, in her womb, you were in your winter season. Same with women when they're menstruating, you're in your winter season. Whereas just before you enter into menstruation, it's fall. When you come out of menstruation, I'm sure some people are going to leave the chat just hearing that word 3 times, but that speaks of them, not me. So when you leave the winter season, when you stop menstruating, then you enter into your spring season where you release an egg, you ovulate, and then your summer season where you release the egg during the spring, and your summer season is when you are actually ovulating the egg, that small window of time. And that's usually when people want to be social and go out and engage. And if you were to align yourself with these moon cycles, especially my women, whether you're in your reproductive years or even if you're menopausal, you can also connect with the moon. Yes. So many of you are being called to stop, to embrace winter, the great cosmic womb. I love that I'm getting split messages in here. That just is further confirming that some of you aren't quite sure just yet. But this may also just be that when you come out with this courageous offering, you're going to let it be seen, you're going to let it grow, and then you're going to fall into the void, releasing all control of the outcome and allowing it to unfold as it's divinely meant to you while you're in your cocoon, preparing to reemerge once again as that butterfly. Yes, Dan, seeing black and blue butterflies. See? Thank you for sharing. Mother Universe. Yes, Edmund, exactly. If you're in the chat and you're enjoying the message, please don't forget to like. It's a free way to support the channel and this free tarot reading. If you would like to ask a question personally, I'll pull you a card. You just donate at the pinned comment above. For others of you, this is, oh, as I lost the card, and I can't make this up. You guys are going to trip out when you see what the card says. Loosen your grip. I loosened it a bit too much and the card flew out. Many strange things happening in tonight's tarot reading. Spirit is talking. But with this loosen the grip, this is just like the last card. I said you're going to fall back, relinquish control, loosening your grip. And when you do, you're going to realize that many of the moves you've been making were simply coping mechanisms. For some of you, there's addiction and you're being asked to let God in. We also have density here. So when we speak of the third dimension, the fourth dimension, and the fifth dimension, when we talk of the third, yes, Sarah, I got the goosies too. That thing definitely flew out of my hand at the perfect time. Ooh, confirmation. But many of you, when we're talking about the third, the fourth, and the fifth dimension with density, the third dimension solids are the most dense, which is why we move the slowest, which is why many of us are in lockdown, um, this grid of time, of father time, if you will. Whereas if you understand and overstand, time is not linear, which is why you can dream of future events before they happen. Some of my chosen ones. All of you have different gifts. All of you possess and maintain your own intuition. So I'm never here. I love when, they send the internet trolls to come tell me, I'm scamming people. First off, these readings are free. You only donate if you feel inclined to do so. You only join the Patreon if you resonate and you feel inclined to do so. But they will send people to attack your character when you're trying to share knowledge that can awaken the masses. And so for many of you, I'm hearing that that is your intuitive abilities. I never tell people that my intuition trumps theirs. I never want people to think that I possess something that they don't have and they must, acquiesce to me in order to receive that. For others of you, with this loosen your grip and this density, it's actually releasing someone in the 3D so that you can ascend to the fourth and the fifth dimension. There's someone or something you're holding on to, a relationship that's long expired, I'm even hearing. And when you do so, it's going to may feel like free falling from everything that you knew, not physically being hurt, but an emotional whirlwind. But what's on the other side of this is such a great blessing, never a blessing. We're not going to be less, but a bliss. The blessing on the other side of this is going to be so great, and it's going to allow your ascension. What's funny is here in this density, she's dropping, but in the fourth and fifth, she's rising, because solids are the most dense energy. For those of you, we won't dive too deep into the addiction and the coping mechanisms, but you know what it is. For some of you, it's even just a partner, where you're codependent on someone. That's what I'm getting. I love this card, Hyrith. It's so beautiful. Longing for home and homesick for the stars. And that's how we opened with your crowning message here. Many of you aligning with astrology, with the stars, with ancient knowledge that's been hidden from you. But the truth is always hidden in plain sight through hieroglyphics, written on walls. You know, you can see existence of mud flood with architecture of buildings and how they go up on slants. That may resonate with a very small few of you, and others it's going to pique your interest, and you may go look it up after this. That's all about planting the seeds, baby. Congratulations to you, Sarah. 8 months sober. That's what I'm talking about. You've definitely been going through that void energy. And sometimes it does take falling back from the collective or other people just to realign with yourself, with what makes you happy. Knowing, and that's, if you haven't checked out my very first video on this channel, it's 3 years old almost now, but it's from 2021, and it was why I broke up with social media. And one of the biggest things with that, especially when you're dealing with monitoring spirits, is or people who keep you in loops because they only know a certain version of you and they're not willing to loosen the grip and let go. These monitoring spirits can easily access you on social platforms. So I made a video, not it wasn't spiritual, it was just more of a venting and a sharing of why I broke up with social media as a small business. I was teaching at the time. I still do part time. And that video, I will link it above if you want to check that video out, because that is also should be a spiritual video in which people can monitor you there. You know, social media has really, it has become the age of the peeping Tom. We've normalized people watching silently, which is why this was the title. You have an audience, chosen one, but they're silently watching you. They have binoculars with front row seats, so they're really zooming in. Okay, you share something on a social platform, they're screenshotting just in case you remove it, or just in case your profile goes private. They're zooming in on little details. They're remembering things about you, but they never like anything. They never comment. They might try to privately message you, or they might even congratulate you when they run into you in public. But publicly, on a platform for everyone to see, not in a private conversation in public, because there's a difference. They're not doing anything. They're not liking. They want to leave no trail that they're actually inspired by you, which should also set off an alarm that that person probably speaks ill of you in your absence. Because if they didn't, then why wouldn't they be able to publicly show that they support you? Liking someone's social media is free. Sharing someone's content is free. Most people don't want to be told about themselves. So sometimes you got to spit the facts and know you're going to lose people along the way. Anyone who's willing and ready to meet you at your level, they'll be inspired by it and they'll be willing to work towards that. And otherwise, it just eliminates the people who aren't meant to go along on your journey. You're welcome, Sarah. Wow, two people in here with sobriety. So let me scroll back on that card. We'll come back to Hyrith because I have two people in the chat. Let's see what other energy I can pull from this card. For some who are dealing with the addiction, and don't think just because this is for the rest of the collective who may be feeling like they don't have addictions because they've never been addicted to alcohol or drugs. Addiction comes in many forms. Addiction can come in corn on the cob. Addiction can come in sex. It can come with your phone. It's the first thing you grab in the morning. It's what you fall asleep with at night. It can come with anything that's only good in moderation, if at all. So no judgment. This is a judgment-free zone. But back to the coping mechanisms for those of you who are replacing, who you've admitted that you're dealing with something. Be mindful of these new coping mechanisms or even new people coming in that may seem like they're in alignment, but just caution sign. Not everything is as it appears. Be mindful of replacing one thing with another just because the other is at a slightly higher vibration. At this point, especially when you feel like you're healing, much like an open wound, you wouldn't poke at an open wound. You give it time, you cover it, you let it heal. And same thing with this. You don't want to stir up anything from the past by just replacing it with something else. And this goes for everyone in the chat who, maybe you just stopped eating a lot of sugar. Most people are addicted to sugar. Okay. All right. Back to this high risk. We're longing for home and homesick for the stars. And this is why many people find themselves anxious, depressed. I am not a medical doctor. Please, this is for entertainment purposes only, once again. But many of you are finding these coping mechanisms and acquiring these addictions due to the fact that you are so out of alignment with where you're from, who you truly are. But so many of you, this is why the message, despite having moderating spirits, is positive, because you're remembering who you are, Simba. You're the lion. You have that inner power. You're the sun. And you come from a place that completely resonates with your soul, where you're not bogged down by a physical body. And now always be grateful for your physical vessel. It is your temple and your vehicle for this 3D human experience, but there's more to it. Your energy never dies, it can only be trapped or transmuted. And this is where you see many of your times your hauntings, your ghosts, your lost souls versus your disembodied souls, your benevolent hauntings versus your malevolent hauntings. If you didn't check out that live, be sure to check that out as well if it resonates. But many of you are aligning with this new knowledge, and it's reminding you of who the F you are. It's making you feel good in your skin, connecting with other chosen ones and seeing that you're not alone. Some of you may be life path number 11, master number 11 in the chat. And with that comes much trial and tribulations. It is the 911. If you'd like for me to do a numerology number reading, let me know. I might do that as a live. We're going to pull from another deck, but give me one moment. Give me 60 seconds. I'll be right back. Drop a 333 in the chat. Share it while I take this brief break. All right, I'm back. Let me know you can hear me in the chat. Drop a 333. Yeah, I'm reading the comments now too. I'm back. I just want to be able to connect with you all. So Sarah, I see you were told that they even like your post on the phone. Exactly. For not for others to see, but they're okay telling you to your face. So let's dive a little bit deeper. I'm going to pull from another deck. We'll see if I pull from the Dust to Onyx tonight. This might be my last deck. So if you're interested in asking a personal question, check out the pinned comments. All right. create some space. Thank you, Dan. Appreciate you, Sarah. Thank you, Sunny. Thank you, The Real Furious. I saw your 333 earlier as well. We got Hermit in the middle of the deck and the Nine of Wands. Yes. That just tells me when I split the deck, that means in isolation, you will acquire this new knowledge, this Kundalini energy rising, right, to the wisdom, to your pineal gland. And with that, down the middle is the Nine of Wands. 333. 3 plus a 3 plus a 3. And the 9 is wish fulfillment. So wish fulfillment in your manifestation. So definitely be mindful of how you're speaking to yourself. Your thoughts become things. And when you have that gift of manifestation on your side, you have to be very mindful. Because the universe cannot, the Most High cannot discern what you don't want and what you do want. They just pick up on what you're focusing the most of your energy and attention to. Spirit, please show my chosen collective what it is that they need to see. Any closing messages for my collective? I see the sun in there. It didn't come out, but we'll take that. I'm being called to take 3. Yes. Oh, wow. And it ended up coming out anyways. Would you look at that? Out of 5 cards, 3 major arcanas, and one of them was the Hermit. And I know you all just saw me shuffle that. You saw me shuffle it. I called it. I was like, I split the deck. I saw it. It was speaking to me. And that's where that courageous peony comes in. That's that energy we were talking about earlier where your mind is racing. So sometimes later at night, you think about what you coulda, woulda, shoulda said. Same thing goes with tarot. Just be courageous. If spirit is moving you to speak something and ask yourself, is it causing harm, fear, or is it out of love? If it's out of love, then always yes. And that 9 of Wands came out too, where I split the deck. I saw that while I was shuffling. So I was like, no surprise that came out. Wow, this is absolutely insane. Okay, let's start with the Hermit. I just have to mention though, the moon came out as well. And we talked about you having that moon. We talked about the moon energy and the moon cycles, despite it not coming out. And there it is. So much confirmation from spirit tonight. Feels really good. Okay. The Hermit. This can be Virgo energy. Once again, this is about you removing yourself into that void we spoke of earlier. And with that removing of yourself, these monitoring spirits no longer can throw you off of your path. Some of you, I'm hearing, you're very much empaths. You feel really deeply. And so you may be that water sign, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. But regardless of what your sun sign is, you may have a lot of other water in your chart. And so because you feel things so deeply, when your wounds are open, when you're going through healing, or simply when you're cocooned and you're going through a transformation, you do the best in a winter season, removing yourself into the void, not because you're isolating or because you don't like people, but because you know that you thrive without distractions. You know that you feel others' energies and situations so deeply that it's hard for you not to get involved. And where you would get involved and fill someone else's cup, they might not do the same for you. And now you're never asked to dim your light or to close off your heart, because your heart is going to be one of your superpowers, chosen ones, as many things are sent along your path. You never want to dim that light. And that in spirit is your enlightenment, your wisdom. But it's also about you moving through the heart chakra, which we tapped at the beginning of this reading. For many of you, I'm hearing they mistake your kindness for weakness. But anytime someone does that, they always find out, don't they? Not because you're violent or verbally aggressive, but because you're silent. Your silence speaks volumes. When you go into hermit mode, when you fall back, people just it drives them nuts, especially the monitoring spirits that we're talking of, because the monitoring spirits, they're out looking like the hermit. They're outside in the deepest depths of the forest with the light looking for your energy so they can siphon some. And now the Hermit's a positive card, and this is meant to represent you. But please reverse or change the roles as it's needed. But also on the dark side, this is someone who's watching, who's looking for your light, whether that's to harness your energy, whether that's to dump on you. Maybe you're the person who always listens to their problems when they call, despite them never changing any behavior about themselves, and they know they can count on you when everyone else won't pick up the phone because they're tired of hearing about their situation. But they can count on you. So here they are. Now they're seeking you out. So for many of you, these monitoring spirits, if you've been in this season of isolation, of self-isolation for protection, for evolution, not because you're just being antisocial. I want to clarify that once again. But these people are now really looking for you because they don't know where you went. And here you are, unbothered with your Nine of Wands, getting ready to have a wish fulfilled. For some of you, I'm hearing since you've been a small child, you've been waiting for this wish to be fulfilled. For some of you, it's a destination or a vacation, and it may be happening next March in 2025. With this Nine of Wands, this is you being able to once again lead the masses. What started off as small seeds or small sprouts just barely coming through the soil are now large fruits that you've harvested. These are weapons, if you will, that have been sharpened for war. And this is more spiritual than it is physical. There's an entire spiritual warfare happening around us. Some of you are starting to be able to see it through your third eye, through your first eye, not your other two. And with this is going to come a lot of eyes on you. And it's not just going to be those monitoring spirits, it's going to be the positive ones as well. People who are now looking to you, not just to hate on you, but for guidance. People are going to be coming to you for an answer. And you're going to feel as though you have this deep responsibility. Heavy wears the crown. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. You're going to have this deep responsibility of not abusing this position of power for many of you. So do not be discouraged if you've been waiting, because in this isolation project process, in this dark night of the soul that I know many of you have gone through, you're coming out on the other side with wish fulfillment. Not only that, but with justice. I may have some Libras in the chat. September 30th birthday for some of you. I'm also hearing October 3rd, October 13th. But with this justice, whether you're a Libra or not, this is the scales being balanced. I always like to point out that in tarot, the scales are usually balanced. But if you ever are in a courtroom, they're always unbalanced. Someone has to lose. But the justice, the Libra, much like the Empress, does not lose. She has her sword prepared for this spiritual battle, and her energy is balanced. So even when negativity comes her way, even when demonic energies vessel hop and try to deter her or him from their path, justice will always be served. You don't even have to, you see, she can't necessarily lift a finger. She's holding scales in one other. Now, this sword, especially with Libra and air signs, they see everything from an aerial view. So many a times their sword is their tongue. And so many people may have caught the wrath of your communication, because while they mistook your kindness for weakness, you are so highly intellectual and intelligent that when you do formulate and form your tongue for war, you do not miss. And that's only going to resonate with a specific few. Some of you may wear this long braid, or you may be wearing like pigtails. You may have, and there's the heaviest, the head that wears the crown. There's your confirmation. Little Red Riding Hood is also going to be something that may pop out in your scope over the next few weeks. And now, of course, we are entering into that autumnal equinox, Halloween season. You see, I even have my own in the back. I'm bumping my elbow. Luckily, it didn't hurt. But Little Red Riding Hood, when you see that, just take note of your surroundings. And that's not meant to scare you at all, but there's just going to be a message in it for you. So it may be the people you're around, the location you're at. There's a deeper message there for you to dig a little deeper. Justice will be served. For others who are actually dealing with contracts, with court, legal systems, the scales will weigh in your favor. In numerology, this is also the eight. So that eight keeps coming through. Eight is all about abundance, financial stability, that infinity, the closing of old loops. I'm loving this so far. Three major arcanas, and then you had two wands, and you even had the ace of wands, which is victory. This is a win. Everything is confirming here. It couldn't go more seamlessly with this deck. Once again, this is a reminder to be very careful with your tongue. Your word is your wand, and your word is your bond. Okay, you curse yourself, which is why they used to have you write in cursive, because it means I've cursed. So be mindful of the thoughts you think and the words you speak. That keeps coming through, and for someone, it's going to resonate. For others, you may be seeing 11:11 on the clock, 111. Some of you may be going to a premiere of a group, whether that be musically, theater. You're going to be invited to something, and it's going to cause you to show up and dress kind of like this queen, empress, justice energy, all of the Libra vibes that you're getting here. Man or woman, you're sitting, your ancestors are going to handle anything that comes at you. That's the thought I was on earlier. So much is coming in. Please pardon me for jumping around, because I'm receiving so much and I don't want to miss anything that may resonate with the collective, or even if it's just with one soul who really needed to hear it, that's worth it for me. Be sure, if you're in the chat, give it a like. I greatly appreciate your support. It helps me to reach more people. Yeah, something to do with film. So you may receive free movie tickets. You may be invited to a premiere, but it's going to cause you to, once again, that red coming out is may cause you to have a red carpet appearance. So some of you, you're going to be getting really big news with this Ace of Wands. Like I said, that childhood wish that's going to be coming through for some of my chosen. Something about a saga. You may be finding out via email. For other, I'm getting some type of expert. I have heart surgeon, book expert, someone who may read Vogue, where they like a song with that word in it. I'm getting formaldehyde for someone else. So some of you may be med school students, whether you're dental school, med school, where you're having to use cadavers. Very specific message. I'm also getting Pinocchio. That's never come through before, so let's let it resonate. That may be that monitoring spirit who comes around and tells disinformation to you, or speaks disinformation about you to try to defame your character, so that by the time you show up, you can't figure out why the energy in the room is off, but you've never met these people before. That can be because of that Pinocchio energy. Very specific message. And then we had the moon. So definitely resonating with those moon cycles. Piscean energy, Cancer crab. We also have the crescent moon here once again. So now is a very auspicious time for many of you who are tuning in. Whether this be a financial influx, a flow of money, a new contract, the opening doors of your business, the starting of your own YouTube channel, something is coming to light. And for some of you, it's something that's been done in the dark, but not in a negative way, not a secret. It just may be something that you kept under wraps, or you kept secret for fear of judgment or evil eye before it was ready to be seen. and very much waxing and getting ready to show your light, my beautiful collective. I am going to pull one final card. So if you'd like to ask a question, check out the pinned comment. If you'd like to leave a donation for this tarot reading, never any pressure. But if something resonated and you feel inclined, I greatly appreciate your support. It all goes back into the channel, whether that be a microphone, a stand, all of my tarot decks. Thank you all just for commenting, for liking, for sharing. Your energy is your currency as well, and I appreciate all support in all ways. Final message for my beautiful chosen ones, for my collective. Final message. Seeing the King of Wands as I split the deck. All right. Spirit. One final message for my beautiful collective. Oh, and it even hopped out. Oh my goodness. Well, we're not going to end on this note. I'm going to pull one more card. But you have the Ten of Swords. For many of you, this is past energy, but no such thing as coincidence. There are 10 people in the chat right now with the Ten of Swords. What I will say, the positive about this Ten of Swords is they're facing up. It's as though any energy, negative in intention or impact, it's sent back to the sender. It's blocked and promptly returned to sender. These blades don't even touch you. Whereas in other decks, the blades are usually depicted as in the person's back. 10 is about that completion, that death card that I saw at the bottom of the deck when I first shuffled at the very beginning of this reading. This is very much about backstabbing, betrayal. This is about leaving something behind. And this was an energy we picked up on in today's reading. Because many of the times when you are closing old painful cycles, addictions, and coping mechanisms, it's because you've been holding on to something that is no longer serving you. This is that energy of those who smile in your face and talk behind your back. But for some of you, this was very hurtful because it could have been a family member or someone you trusted for a long time. I'm hearing 10 years or a decade or more from this being the Ten of Swords. So because we're not going to end with that energy, I'm going to pull one final card from the deck I originally wanted to pull from, which is the beautiful Dust to Onyx Tarot deck, one of my favorite decks. So that Spirit definitely wants you to be mindful of the energy you keep and of the words you speak. So many swords in today's reading, a lot of wands, a lot of major arcana. So major life changes, major upgrades are happening for you at this time. Yes, Sarah, I love it. But we're not going to end with that Ten of Swords. We're gonna need to end on a positive note here. So I'm going to split the deck like this. I'm not going to do my traditional shuffle. I am just going to pull from the middle. Let's see what Spirit has to close us with. There we go. That is how you transform and transmute energy from the Ten of Swords with 10 people in the chat to the Queen of Swords. Mama Blade, which in the traditional tarot deck is the Queen of Swords. So you took the Ten of Swords and you made it your pet, okay? Really, pet is most of the time they're your family, but let's just say that you transmuted this energy and you came out victorious. You stood in your queen energy that I was feeling with this justice energy, whether that be male or female, divine feminine, divine masculine. The Queen of Swords never misses with her tongue. She is a sharp shooter. She doesn't speak unless she needs to because she knows that her silence is more powerful at times than her words. So definitely a beautiful message to close on. Know when to be silent. Know when to not cast pearls before swine. And as you do that, as you protect your empath energy, this shield, this armor that the queen is depicted as here, it's going to fall away because she's going to be energetically protected by the Most High, by her benevolent ancestors. and there will be no need for this mask. You'll be able to be authentically 100% yourself. Lovely. Beautiful collective. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and I hope to see you in the next one. Until next time, I am sending you peace, love, and elevation in consciousness. Ase.